Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP. We're at Circuit World in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and it's now time for North Georgia Senior Living from Jessi Barton, Community Relations Director from Cameron Hall.
That's like you're going to go into a song.
Right. That's the way I do it. That's the way I do it. How are you? We're at Circuit World. It's raining a little outside, but we've got the sun shining inside. We're okay. It's not,
I don't mind the rain this morning. If I could have maybe stayed in bed a little bit longer.
Curled
up with a book.
I don't mind. It is Friday. I don't mind the rain if I would not have scheduled several meetings today that I don't know why I did it on Friday. So I've got a full day, and you know I could go for the nap here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
And here at Circuit World, I got plenty of places to take a nap.
Well, while I was waiting, there's a recliner over there.
And you did get up and start yawning.
I think yeah.
We have right after Jessi and I, we will not have our pet of the week, Jessi, but we have some exciting news about one of our pets that from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge that you do know, and we're going to close out with that. So don't go away. We have some exciting stuff from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. How are you?
I'm well. How are you this morning?
Good. What's up?
Kind of lazy this morning. I forgot to email you a topic because I was off yesterday. Actually,
do you think? Okay, now I like when you email me a topic, but do you think that will stop me from figuring something out?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let me tell you where I want to go with this. Here's the direction I'm going. All right. It's your segment. It's your segment. Hey, Cameron Hall, North Georgia Senior Living. But, you know, we were talking right before the break on, you know, it's one of the most enjoyable things in my life, and I'm serious, this is up to the top, is sitting and listening to my grandmother tell me stories about history, about things that happened. I mean, you know, and for my grandmother at that time, you know, living through the Depression and different things like that. And, you know, that's one of the greatest things. You put a post up on Facebook, and I think a lot of people may have watched this on Netflix, The Highwayman, right? You really enjoyed that, didn't you?
Well, Brian turned it on, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is going to be about. I'm just going to, I'll sit here and be company in the room with him, and not this Brian. I've got a Brian at home as well. So I didn't want people to think we're hanging out watching movies. Although, it sounds like we might like the same kind of topics. History and all that. So anyway, sorry, squirrel moment. But
that's okay. I love history. Go ahead.
So I start watching it, and he's like, "Pay attention at the beginning." And so I was like, "Wait, rewind it. I missed that part."
Stop right here. He said, "Pay attention."
Yes. Yes.
I just feel like there's like that moment I say something. Now you got to pay attention to how this starts. Okay, just sorry.
Yes, because I was on the iPad doing some work.
Really?
And he's like, "You got to pay attention to the beginning. It sets it up." And I was like, "Wait, rewind that. How did that happen?" And he was like, "Put the iPad down, pay attention." So, multitasking is not really possible.
Let's not get into the movie. Let's stop. You've brought up a whole new subject. So, for those of you that home that may be watching,
yes,
the movie started.
Yes.
And he said, pay attention, because if you don't pay attention when it starts, you're not going to catch on to where it's going.
Right.
But you did not.
I did not, so...
You kept on going like this, right?
He had to rewind it.
And you're about 2.5 minutes in, and you say, what happened? Right? Let's see. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, where's this going now? I'm kind of getting worried. I need backup.
You said, what happened? And he says, you know, if you put that down, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We are such a multitasking society.
But I want to ask, did he say, if you don't pay attention, I'm not going to rewind it?
He didn't.
I do.
Oh.
But then what I do is I still rewind it.
You still rewind it. You give in.
Yes.
You're really actually a big teddy bear, aren't you?
I say, if you do not pay attention, I'm not rewinding because I know what's happening.
Yeah. You're like, ugh.
And then you know what? Then somebody just says, rewind it. And then we have the whole thing. I told you I wasn't rewinding.
I'm going to rewind it this time.
But I rewind. Okay, so
yes.
We're up to the point where you started paying attention.
So I realized, I was like, what is this about even? And he was like, it's about Bonnie and Clyde. And so I don't know a ton about the whole Bonnie and Clyde story other than the whole romanticized piece that people like to talk about. And so this movie just kind of sucked me in, and I'm like, because I'm a history geek, and the perspective that it was being told from, I was really intrigued by, that they took a different perspective and showed us what the time period looked like about, you know, trying to catch these criminals that were actually held as heroes during that time.
Right, exactly.
And I was just fascinated by the boldness, I guess, that they, you know, just that they portrayed the boldness of these criminals and, you know, the things that they did. And, you know, I was thinking about comparing it to these times today. And, you know, these, I read afterwards because it made me start researching and doing a lot of digging to find factual. A lot of the movie is extremely very factual. The piece I was most surprised by was the ending parade, and I won't give anything away other than when they went through town at the end, that actually happened. And I was so surprised that that had happened. And, you know, are their behaviors considered Robin Hood behaviors? You know, robbing from the rich?
They did have that. They did have that because at that time, a lot of America was struggling through. They were poor. Okay, very poor, and they had a rob from the rich, give to the poor. But the reality is, they were brutal killers. Brutal killers. Okay, and no time is that okay. But I'm like you, when I started watching a movie, or when it came out, I said, okay, how many ways can they do a Bonnie and Clyde movie? And I like the angle they came from as the Texas Rangers, from the angle of the two Texas Rangers that ended up. But I want to tell you this, you know, it's a great movie. I recommend it. So about 10 years, I'm going to say 10 plus years, we went out to Texas. And Bonnie and Clyde ran across the Texas line into Louisiana because what was it? It was the one state there was no warrants for them at this time. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah, it was the one state that they had, not just one, but it was a state where there was no warrants for them right then.
Gotcha.
Okay,
and they had a connection.
And at that time, there was a lot of, you know, cross state lines, extradition, and things like that. So they had a connection. One in their gang family was from there. So they ran across the Louisiana state line. It's not even 10 miles in, I don't think. But we went out to Texas, and we got to Shreveport, Louisiana. We did not want to be on the interstate. Okay, we didn't want to be on the interstate. I wanted to go into Texas on a back road. So we found this back road, and it's just like traveling 52 like out to Dawson. And we're traveling in Louisiana on this back road, and we make this S-turn, and right in front of us is this big sign on the highway, historical sign that says the town Bonnie and Clyde was caught in, and I forget, I can look it up. So we make a turn, and we are on the street.
Wow.
Where they brought them in. The furniture store was downstairs. The funeral home was upstairs.
That's crazy.
Thousands. So there's this sign that says Bonnie and Clyde Museum. There's nobody in this town. There's Lisa, myself, couple, nobody's in this. So we pull over, and she says, I want to go in there. So we go into the Bonnie and Clyde Museum, and we're in there, and this older gentleman's at the counter, and $10 a piece. All right, we paid it. Started looking around. He was very nice, older guy. So we start through there, and here's this car with all these bullets in it. And we said, is that the car? Yep, that's the car. So he's very, if you look with Bonnie and Clyde, with the two Texas Rangers, when they went into Louisiana, they got the sheriff and they got lawmen. So when they cornered Bonnie and Clyde, several law enforcement from Louisiana were involved in the shooting.
Right.
So this older gentleman walks over and he says, you see this picture, and it's hanging on the wall? You see those two Texas Rangers? Yeah. You see all those Louisiana lawmen? Yeah. You see that guy right there? That was my grandfather. He said that was my grandfather. He was one of the Louisiana lawmen in the sheriff's department that day shot at Bonnie and Clyde.
Wow.
So he was a grandson. We stayed all afternoon.
I bet.
It was only the two of us.
And you're soaking up all this.
And it's like the neatest museum. I mean, it really is. It's got all this American history, and he's got pictures, and he's got all of the old local town newspaper clippings. Wow. He takes us out. But what I'm saying is, and he has the pictures of the parade, and he said it really was like that.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because then I said to him, I said, well, how many people come to your museum? He said, I think you're the third or fourth this week. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was, I didn't mean to get on a tangent, but it was amazing.
But what you got
and we stayed all afternoon.
But you got to experience what I think we're starting to lose, and I think the generations, coming up have lost, is that we're not sharing those stories. We're not interested in hearing. I might be a little, a different story, but most people are not going to take that time to sit and listen to that gentleman all afternoon. So because I asked Brian, I said, do you think any of our viewers would remember? So I was calculating ages, and it would probably make our viewers that might remember some stuff about 95, 96. That'd make them about 10 years old at the time. But, does anybody share those stories anymore? Or, hey, my grandparents told me about this time. And, there's so many things that we could experience. And I kick my younger self because I didn't spend that time with my great-grandparents and finding out their stories and finding out where we came from. And,
Well, it was amazing that day because we really enjoyed that. And we walked out on the streets and we said, wow, this is the street that Bonnie and Clyde, the parade, when they were killed and brought in to the funeral home, and thousands lined there. And I mean, you wonder, like, where did the thousands come from? Because this was a small little town,
right? And
they came by the thousands.
15,000 for Clyde's funeral, 20 for
20 some for Bonnie. And they anyhow, I got to get off. I'm so sorry I went there.
No,
but we were talking about that. Now, how about North Georgia? How about Cameron Hall? And you guys have a lunch and learn coming up? Is that what you have?
We do. On Tuesday, April 9th, we've got some local chiropractors from LJ that are going to be coming in to talk about how arthritis affects us, some natural solutions on how we can handle our arthritis, and what treatment options look like.
So when you have the lunch and learn at Cameron Hall and LJ, is that open to the public?
Absolutely. Anybody, everybody. You don't have to be a so-called senior. Did you know some people are saying that's a bad word now?
Is it? What are we supposed to say?
I don't know. I don't see. Some people are offended by it.
So if somebody says they had a senior moment, that's wrong? I don't know.
According to some people.
Just saying, just saying. So the lunch and learn at Cameron Hall is for what again? Let's remind our viewers.
They're going to be talking about arthritis, treatment options, how to handle it naturally, different things like that. So as we do age, our bones kind of sometimes will give us fits, and if we've used them a lot.
Now, is that something, I don't know, is that something you put on your website? Do you have a schedule that you put up?
We do have it on our website, our Facebook page. We usually advertise it in the newspaper about the week before.
What is your lunch and learn? I mean, what is your website so they can go?
Sure. It's CameronHallofLJ.com.
CameronHallofLJ.com. That's simple on the Facebook page also?
Yes.
To find you?
Yes.
This is Jessi Barton, the Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall in LJ. And one of the things I really like to do with North Georgia Senior Living, if you ever want to send us a message or you want to ask a question or anything like that, you can always contact us at info at fetchernews.com. Put in there North Georgia Senior Living. But our goal every week is to get to know Jessi Barton, because you are the what? You're not. I don't want to say you want to be, because you do a great job at it. But you are what?
My goal is to be the senior expert on anything senior related, whether that's a bad word or not. Anything senior related, events happening, resources available, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be about Cameron Hall or assisted living necessarily.
Absolutely. Jessi Barton, please, at any time, if you have any questions, get in touch with her. Now, I asked you earlier, we don't have our Humane Society Pet of the Week. We are up on 10 o'clock. so we don't want you to leave. But guys over there on the table, you are welcome to run the pictures. This is from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge, and let me just say this. I'll see if I can read. This is Taylor. You guys have met Taylor. She came to us in May of 2018. She was found about an hour south of here, which is Blue Ridge, on a porch with 7 puppies. I remember when they got the 7 puppies by a neighbor of a friend from HSBR, Humane Society of Blue Ridge. He called to ask if we had room to take Taylor and her 7 puppies. We did have room, so Taylor came to be with us. All of the puppies have been adopted. All of them have been adopted in 2017. Next month would have been, Taylor would have been with us a year. However, today, Friday, I am taking her to her new home in North Carolina. She will have a playmate to share her life with and human companionship. We all love Taylor so much, and she will be missed. We are happy for her and hope she visits us soon. That is Taylor has found her forever home. And so don't forget humanesocietyofblueridge.org and their Facebook page. And that's it. Thank you very much, Jessi. I appreciate it. Come back to me just a second. I got to give this programming note. Don't forget Monday at 1 o'clock, we will have our post-legislative interview with House Speaker David Rawson. We do it every year. He will be in studio Monday, and that will be live. And don't forget, check us out 8 a.m. Monday morning. You guys have a great weekend. Don't look at the weather. It's okay. Get out and enjoy yourself. Take us out of here.